So our session is breakout in. We will discuss about what is design thinking for 20 minutes, and for 10 minutes we will discuss about the design thinking process and case studies. 10 minutes will be for the wallet exercise, and 5 minutes for the characteristics of a design thinking educator. And the next 5 minutes will be for you for the critical questions from your side. So, what is a design thinking? So, basically, design thinking is a method of creative problem solving. It draws upon logic, imagination, intuition, and systematic reasoning to explore possibilities of what could be and to create desired outcomes that benefit the end user, having empathy as a key filter. So, basically, design thinking emerges from an exploration of theory and practice in a range of disciplines and science as a means of addressing the human, the technological and strategic innovation needs of our time. So before understanding the design thinking, first we will discuss about the analytical thinking. So what is the analytical thinking? So analytical thinking is the ability to tackle complicated issues by evaluating information you have gathered and organized. So analytical thinkers can detect patterns between data sets that often leads to creative solutions. They are able to turn noisy data and information into action. As critical thinkers, they help team make informed decisions based on collected data and identified goals. So analytical thinkers also help the team embrace new ideas and develop a growth mindset. So how, if you are an analytical thinker, then how do you know? So what is an analytical person? An analytical person wants to gather and consider information at length before making a big decision. Even in small choices, they will tend to look to the number or data for guidance rather than making an off the cutoff choice. For example, if we will discuss about the analytical thinker example, then approaching every setback and failure as an opportunity to learn is an example of analytical thinking. Leaders often incorporate past learnings to solve present problems. They are excellent at getting to the heart of a problem and finding the logical solution. So, analytical skills are soft skills that help you identify and solve complex problems. So, some popular analytical skills includes like the critical thinking, data and information analysis, research, communication, and problem solving. Next is the intuitive thinking. So, what is intuitive thinking? So, intuitive thinking means going with one's first instinct and reaching decisions quickly based on automatic cognitive process. So, some of we say that we believe in the God because our intuitions and about how and why things happen lead us to see a divine purpose. So, behind ordinary events that do not have obvious human causes. So, even now, intuitive thinking is a mystery to the world of science. However, we have managed to make some progress and get a better understanding of this fascinating, unpredictable part of our brain. It is somewhere between emotions and rationality, you can say. So, which is exactly why it is so mysterious. So, intuitive thinking is basically the kind of thinking that helps you to understand the reality in the moment without logic or analysis. So, there is no language involved in it. Either it is entirely about science and sensation. Most of the time, it goes against whatever we might think of as rational. According to the science, intuitive thinking happens in a region of our brain close to the pineal gland, or in other words, it lines up with with the middle of your forehead between your eyebrows. So you can't intuitive thinking whenever you want. It only shows up in moments of inspiration. or in addition, it really works. It is what some people call doctors, clinical eye, or being a visionary. For example, if we discuss when we walk into a coffee shop, we recognize the cup as something we have seen many times before. We also understand intuitively that is likely to be hot. We generally we go for the coffee shop and just in our mind that we can predict the size of cup also, and its nature of the cup also. This is the example of the intuitive thinking. So that is likely to be hot and easily spilled on an uneven surface. So next we comes for the design thinking. So design thinking, you can see in the figure, is the halfway between analytical thinking and intuitive thinking. So analytical thinking involves purely deductive reasoning and inductive logical reasoning that utilize quantitative methodologies to come to conclusions. So however, intuitive thinking refers to knowing something what and kind of reasoning. So you can say that intuitive thinking plus analytical thinking is known as the design thinking that creates the innovation. So design thinking is not an exclusive property of designers. All great innovators in literature, in art, music, science, also in engineering and business have practiced it. So why call it design thinking? What is special about design thinking is that designers work processes can help us systematically extract, teach, learn, and apply these human centered techniques to solve the problems in a creative and innovative way. That is the part of design thinking. So, in our designs, in our business, in our country, in our lives, we are generally we are uh, performing many innovations related to the design. So some of the world's leading brands such as Apple, Google, Samsung and GE, that is known as the General Electronics, have rapidly adopted the design thinking approach. And design thinking is being taught at leading universities around the world, including D School, Stanford, Harvard and MIT. But do you know what design thinking is and why it is so popular? So here we will cut to these and tell you what it is and why it is so in demand. Just a minute.
So basically, design innovation is the process of innovating in a field that is traditionally considered design, such as graphic design, product design, and user experience design. So the term is also applied to the use of design and design thinking to innovate in areas such as engineering, software development, and business operations. So the end goal of a design thinking work process is to create a solution that is desirable, feasible, and viable. This means that your product or solution should not only satisfy the need of a user, but be easy to implement and have a commercial model as well. So you can see that how the design changing the world. So the example you can see that $10 trillion worth, 10% of Fortune 500 companies have their own design. Also, IBM invested $100 million in building a massive design organization and hired 1,000 new designers. Also, Infosys has reskilled our 1 lakh employees with design thinking. PepsiCo CEO Indra Nooyi has made design thinking a strategic priority for the food and beverage. Also, the design changing the world. That's that it's changing the world because it changes the reality for people wherever the situation is happening. If design can change the water delivery in a certain part, for example, if design can change the water delivery in a certain part of the world, then it changes the part of the world for those people. That's the way design changing the world. Design is one of the most powerful force in our lives, whether or not we are aware of it, and can also be inspiring, empowering, and enlightening. Good design is so much more than creating a good looking product. Design influences what we think, the way we feel, and the decision we make. Also, the design thinking is a human centered approach to innovations, anchored in understanding customers' need, rapid prototyping, and generating creative ideas that will transform the way you develop products, services, process, and organizations. So, what are the great innovations by a man? Means the special designs that changes the, or you can say that they play an important role in the innovations. So the first was the telescope in 1608. So in 1608, the Hans Liffersky created a convex and concave eyepiece that enabled the creation of the telescope. The next year, Galileo built on these early designs to create a much more powerful telescope that enabled us to understand our place in the universe. After that, after the telescope in 1712, the steam engine was first invented by the Thomas Newcomen in 1712 and was tremendously important in powering the machine that drove the industrial revolution. So these I'm discussing about the revolutionary innovations by a human being. The next innovation was the light bulb that we will discuss in further slides, and the telegraph that invented in 1809 by the Samuel. So also you will study about the Morse code that helped to invent the telegraph also. So creator of the Morse code invented the telegraph communication system that ended up a commercial success. After that, in 1825, we'll discuss about the electromagnet innovation. Then, in 1825, the electric magnet was discovered by British inventor William Struggle. His first magnet was an iron horseshoe wrapped with copper wire with a current passed through it. After that, the next was the petroleum in 1859. The petroleum was discovered. Petroleum was one of the most efficient substances in terms of the amount of energy that could be expended per ounce of liquid when burned. So the discovery of petroleum led to the gas-powered car half a century later. After that, the we comes on the telephone system, telephone transmission system in 1860. The telephone was invented by the John Philip. he was the first to produce a functioning electromagnetic device that could transmit understandable sounds. So, after the 16 year later, Alexander Graham Bell received the first patent for commercially successful telephones. In 1883, also the Thomas Edison discovered the electrical that could actually travel through gas or vacuum that we know as the vacuum tube. 10 years later, the next scientist Lily Forrest invented the Odeon to control and amplify the current, and innovation that becomes critically important to the telecommunication field. The next innovation was the of semiconductors in 1896. The first semiconductor were discovered. And the semiconductor is simply material that has electrical conductivity due to flowing electrons. As you all are aware about, you have studied in the lower classes about the semiconductors. So today silicon basically serves as the main component for most commercially produced semiconductors. In 1896, also there was a revolutionary innovation in form of penicillin. So the antibiotic properties of penicillium, it took until 1928 for Scottish biologist Alexander Fleming to rediscover it. Just a minute. So in 1897, the next innovation was the radio. So Tesla applied for and received the first radio system patent after demonstrating in the year before at the World's Fair. So radio took advantage of amazing invisible parts of the electromagnetic spectrum to transmit information through waves, as you all aware about it. After that, in 1897, the also when the radio was invented, so Joseph John Thomson discovered the electrons, which has revolutionized the world in the last 115 years. Next was the quantum physics that came into existence after 1900 with the theory of Planck's quantum hypothesis that any energy radiating atomic system can be divided into individual energy elements. So in 1905, Albert Einstein theorized and later proved that light is made up of individual quantum particles, later termed photons by Gilbert levels. The next innovation was the aeroplane. In 1903, we saw the invention of the airplane by the Wright brothers on the North Carolina coast, with the first successful flight of a manned machine occurring on 17th December 1903. Next was the television. So it was first moving image was seen in 1926. After 10 years later, the British Broadcasting Corporation, that is known as the BBC, broadcast the first public television show. If we discuss further invention, that was the transistor in 1947. So the creation of the transistor. So a transistor is a device that is used to amplify and switch electronic signals to exchange information over a distance. Electrical students are more familiar about the transistors. Next was the DNA in 1953 by the James Watson and Francis Crick that discovered the correct model for DNA structure, that was the double helix model, then famously walked into a local pub and exclaimed, "We have found the secret of life." Means DNA invention or DNA, you can say that was found as the secret of life. The integrated circuit was come into existence in the 1959 by the Jack Kilby of Texas Instrument and Robert along with their team. So they created the first integrated circuit in 1959. So all computers eventually ended up using integrated circuits, which later developed into the microprocessor and microcontrollers. In 1969, we come with the internet services. We saw the creation of the early internet called the ARPANET, which was built by the US Department of Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, that is known as the ARPA. So, to connect researchers, the world's wide web became a communication tool that formed a constantly updated record of human knowledge and expression. After that, after the innovation of integrated circuits, we come up to microprocessors in 1971, where the Ted Hoff of Intel created the microprocessor, which was an integrated circuit in a time space. It had all the functions of the computer or a central processing unit on it. After that, there was a revolutionary innovation in terms of the mobile phone. In 1973, first the Motorola launched the first handheld mobile phone. The first prototype of this mobile phone have the weight of 2.5 pounds. That offered 30 minutes of talk time only. Means battery strength was not so much good and featured a battery that took 10 hours to recharge. Means the charging time of battery was the 10 hours. So first mobile phone, if we discuss that having the high weight, offering only the low talk time of 30 minutes and not a good battery backup. After the mobile phone, we come on the technology of the smartphone in 2007. So on January 9th, 2007, the iPhone launched. It was the first widely available smartphone with multi-touch capabilities. So the multi-touch smartphone paved the way for tablet and the coming convergence of the laptop, tablet and smartphone, as well as new hybrids such as a cloud-connected glasses and smartwatches. This was the quantum computer. You all aware about this. The first quantum computer was brought to market by D-Wave. Quantum computer used superposition and alignment to solve some computing problems thousands of times faster than traditional computers. You can see on the screen that what is it. If you can see the image, then you can identify that why was it invented. What is this? So basically, this is the potter's wheel. So potter's wheel between it come into existence between 6000 and 4000 BC. The first potter's wheel was invented in Mesopotamia. This brought about a revolution in the way ancient people could create items out of clay. While pottery had always had intrinsic artistic qualities, when the potter's wheel arrived, it shifted the process even more. The invention of the potter's wheel to be helpful to the early humans, it made making pots convenient. The clay cloud be molded in various shape and size with the help of this potter wheel. The viability, desirability, and feasibility plays an important role in the design thinking process. These three techniques suggest the innovations can only be successful if three conditions are met. Means first is the desirability that someone wants it, someone wants to require it, and that is known as the desirability. If you can deliver it, it is known as the feasibility. And if it makes economic sense, means it is the viability. Means if you can generate the income source from your design, then it is the viable design. So test all your ideas to these three lenses to evaluate their potential. So when you are innovating, you are either need to have a great idea for a product that everyone will want, which we might call the iPod approach, or our need to identify a need that nobody is addressing. The iPod approach requires you to have a visionary idea and persuade others that they need that product. Means you can see in the image that a different type of potteries are made by the men in different shape and different design as per the requirement. So also the person is generating the income from after designing these you can say the pottery items. So means it comes in the category of the desirability, feasibility, and the as income source of the viability. Means people require it, that is the desirability, that is a requirement of the people. And feasibility means it can be designed, you can design, that is the feasibility.